Hello guys, and welcome to another with Zimaleta. In today's video I'm dealing with a problem with my sprinter. So the sprinter videos are back. I'm doing some service, I'm doing some maintenance, but right now I got this one problem that's really stumping me, and that is the ABS ESP and traction control light. I wish these problems were all the same, you know, all the time, to where you get used to something like this and you just fix it right off the bat. But in this video I'm going to touch the topic and the problems that you might be having with your brake light, which might fix it right away. And I want to explain to you my problem, which it's not so simple. Okay, so let's begin. Normally when ABS, ESP and traction control lights are on, it's due to the fact that your brake light switch is bad. Now, if the brake light switch is bad, it also burns your fuse, which is number 5 brake light fuse. This is underneath the steering panel column. You remove this and you could clearly see brake lamp and number 4 reversing lamps, fuse number 4. Now here's what's going on, guys. Currently I have several situations going on. Now the ABS ESP and traction control lights are on. I did replace the brake light switch with a new one. Problem did not go away. I replaced it again with another one from a different van of mine that I know it's also new and I know it works. There you go, done that. The next problem that normally solves this, especially with, you know, fuses being blown, like a number 5 fuse for the brake light, you know, it gets blown due to like the light circuit boards, the tail lights. Sometimes they become unrattled, and what happens is part of the circuit board, it will be touching each other. I'm not sure if it really will burn your fuse out for any other reason. That's actually, upon inspection, that's actually what I found, you know, last time that I had this problem with a different type of van. That's actually what was going on. It was the circuit. It was touching at one place that it shouldn't, so it was creating a short, and that short was blowing the fuse number 5. Now when fuse number 5 gets blown, what happens is your brake lights will just come on and they'll just glow, you know, and whether you're hitting a brake lights, like you're hitting your brake, your light's just gonna be glowing. It's kind of like you're hitting brakes all the time. So technically, if you'll be driving with this type of condition, so then let's say you turn your vehicle off, you replace the fuse, which is number 5 underneath the dash, and again you turn your lights on, everything's fine. You start your van up, everything's good, but then you hit your brake lights again, and guess what? The fuse gets blown again, and same thing happens. The lights just light up and they stay on, you know. Also, when that fuse gets blown, you have another thing going on. Your shifter will not shift from park into drive. This is if you're trying to go somewhere. So there's a way that you could just stick a screwdriver in there, unlock it, and keep going. You know, that thing. But what am I having is, it is a really weird problem, and I'm going to show you kind of like what's going on as well. We're going to like diagnose it together. It's not the brake light switch. It is not my fuse. My fuse is not being blown. Only the left side of, you know, like of my tail lights, which would be that light right there, it works. That light doesn't. So when I turn on my lights, like parking lamps and everything, nothing comes on that side. When I hit my brakes, thankfully, that light does come on for the brakes, and that one comes on. Both turn signals work, at least that, you know, it's a little bit less of a problem. But the parking lamps, bottom or the top, they don't work. And another problem is, you know, let me just show you. So we're gonna turn on the van right now. We're gonna turn on the lights. As you can see, immediately lights came on over here, and that's because I got it all out and stuff like that. So let me turn the blinker on. So now you can see the blinker is working. So let me turn hit the brakes on. Can you see that it does come on? So let me turn the blinkers off. Let me turn the parking lamps off. So I'm hitting the brakes. You could clearly see brakes come on. Now check it out. If I reverse, you see like nothing came on for the reverse. So I'm going forward. It's fine. But my reverse is not working. Right now, reverse, neutral. Reverse, neutral. Park. Remove the brake. Back in reverse. As you can see, they're not coming on. And that's quite weird. Definitely not fun. And usually when you're having these type of problems, it is not one problem, but it's a couple problems in one. And obviously I'm having ABS, ESP, and traction control problem, and the slide problem. And somehow these two systems are related. I'm not sure if there is some kind of fail-safe to where when you see your backup lamps not coming on or your park lamps not coming on, especially has to do with like with that side, which should be kind of like the passenger side, tail lamps, then there's something wrong with your ABS system. So I'm not sure. So this could be it, and I could be having a simple problem, or I could have something that's not that simple. Now with some of the recommendations that I got from like some of my viewers that also work on the sprinters and stuff like that, they're saying that similar problem that they had, and that was the actual shifter that they had to replace, that electronic section. So that solved it. This could also be the ABS module that's underneath your hood to replace the whole thing, like pretty much like a computer and stuff like that. That will not be fun because you're having to mess with brake fluid at the same time, plus with the computer and everything. Because supposedly after so many brakes, the computer thinks it's no good and it causes those lights to come on. I know on some Mercedes models that's actually what happens. There's a way to solve it by plugging in like this little device into your port, and it's just gonna fix this type of situation. Like it's just gonna delete the code, and it's a smaller device. It's not that expensive, probably like $30 or something. I'm not sure if it's that issue or if it's my actual shifter or what's going on, because certainly right now it's not the easy one. And what's confusing is how is these things related? Why is that has to do with lights? I know like if it was just like ABS, ESP, and traction control, it would be one thing. But hear me further, guys. If I'll have my vehicle run for a long time, probably till it's nicely warmed up, my shifter will not shift anymore from park into drive, even though the fuse is not blown. So that's another little culprit. But also when this happens, the top parking lamp will come on and the backup light will come on. They'll be both on, the two top ones, instead of like the bottom, the very bottom parking lamp coming on and that one, they will both on top stay on. So that's like another indicator. Is the Sprinter trying to tell me something? Like, so imagine yourself driving at night, you're gonna have a white light on in the back pretending that you're backing up just on one side, which would be that side, and one parking lamp would be on. Thankfully the brakes will still work, the brake lamps, but those two lights come on. And I found a solution for driving at night with this type of condition is replacing the backup brake light, a backup light, the white one, with the red bulb. I'm using LED. As a matter of fact, I'm using a dual connector. It's not plugged in currently, but when this does happen, I plug that light in there, and then I could drive at night. It seems like I have like two red lights on, and I guess I would not get pulled over because my brake lights are working, my turn signals are working. It's just the parking lamp will be on and the backup light will be on. I guess as long as they go, red, it is fine. But that's the confusing part. Like, why does it do that? Like, is this electrical? But if it is, like, why did it all of a sudden like happen? I actually looked at some electrical connectors. There is some suspicions that I had going on with like ABS sensor connections, because last time when I actually installed a rear differential, I had to cut like, well, like where you have to connect the lamps, you have to still kind of cut it there. Um, the actual, connectors where the brake lights, excuse me, the ABS lights. Man, what's going on with me? The ABS sensors, they have like very long wires, and at the portion where they connect, I had to disconnect those things, and I reconnected them, using kind of like these crimp type of like wire things. It's designed for that, and I kind of thought maybe I made some bad connections. I was doing it at night, barely any light out and stuff like that. So today, that was the very first thing I checked. I went underneath, I checked the connections, and the two suspicious ones that I thought was suspicious, I went ahead and I disconnected them, and I connected them again. I reconnected them basically. I don't think the actual ABS sensors have failed. And even if they did, what does this have to do with my lights? I'll tell you something, guys. And this is something I always kind of like, yeah, I remind sometimes every now and then. Sometimes when you're messing with something, or something happened with your vehicle and things were working, but now you mess with it and they don't, you always have to kind of like look back at what you did, and then have to recheck your work, and possibly you forgot to plug something in, or there's something that you did to cause this issue. So when this ABS lights came on, same time, like, I started having issues with my lights. So this was all happening at the same time. So that's why I know this is related somehow. I don't know how yet, but I'm very suspicious. I believe somehow it's related, and I will definitely find what it is. If it's going to be in my next video, so be it. But right now, it's pretty much guesswork. I mean, my next step was going to be check the wiring in the back for that, lights back there, and see if I could run separate wires from this side to that, like somehow underneath the van, to where I will have the parking lamps come on at the proper, proper spaces and stuff like that. But how do you solve the issue with the parking? It's not shifting into drive when it runs for a while. I mean, is it the shifter? I know it's not the brake light switch. And also, very important little note. Now, all this started happening when one of the lights, it's that one. I'm having a very difficult time. It's kind of like a mirrored effect. That light right there, I noticed, like, I was driving. Like, I was not under a load, but I was just driving in one of the cities, and all of a sudden that thing just falls out, like the whole plasticky thing just falls out. So I go over there and I inspect it, and it turns out one of the lights, when it was on over there, one of the parking lights, towards the bottom portion, it melted the plastic. So somehow that thing was like a little bit crooked, I guess, so it came out like partially, and it melted the plastic. So that light was all covered in plastic. So I replaced the light bulb, it was still working, and then I started noticing these problems. And I've tried different type of bulbs, I've tried LEDs, I've tried different types with different numbers. None of these things seem to solve the issue. So right around the same time, ABS light came on, and traction control and everything else. So no check engine light is on, all that is fine. But I started thinking that somehow that is related. And I cannot put my finger on it right now. But I'm thinking somehow, could it somehow, like, was trying to blow a fuse, it didn't, and maybe messed up my my fuse panel that's underneath my steering column? Could that happen somehow? And now the fuse is not blown, you know, but it's still on. But if it was blown, then, or acting like it's blown, those brake lights would be just on, they would be just glowing, you know, if there was a short. So it's a little bit confusing. It's like, you know, what is it like? Is it a plug and play unit that went wrong and this is a signal of some sort? I have no clue. If you guys know what it is, put it in the comments below. Also see if I already solved this issue, which would be a video, I guess, after this one. Maybe several videos after, because I like to mix things up a little bit on my channel. But either way, if you're having the same issue, I'm going to find what it is, and I will solve it. I always solve it, but right now it's very puzzling. And let's just go over this again. I started my van up. I hit the brake light right now. As you can see, they clearly come on. Reverse does not work. And park. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my van running. I'm just going inside. I'm going to eat. I'm going to see if the lights will come on from it running a certain amount of time, and I'm probably going to time the process as well. So I guess I might put it in this video and let you know how long the time has passed for the lights to come on, like the parking light and the backup light. So it is important for me to get this in this video so you actually could see that this is actually going on. I'm not like making this up. Now I noticed this when I was picking up a load in Michigan, that they both came on, and I'm thinking, what am I gonna do now? Like, do I need a red marker to try to make the bulb red? I didn't have one. The company I was picking up didn't have one. I didn't tell them what I needed it for, but I'm thinking that's weird. And then I remembered I had some red LEDs, so I plugged it in, and it solved the problem for me, so I could, you know, deliver the load. But right now, this is the only thing that I need to solve on this van. I already solved the issue with my turbo. I solved my starter issue. I do have a spare alternator now that I carry with me. Of course, the new starter is installed. Used but good blower motor is installed. AC is supposed to be technically working, and I got a new blower motor resistor. So these things are all working, so I just gotta figure this thing out. And one other thing I do want to mention, I replaced the circuit boards already, and for that particular side I replaced it 4 times, so it can't be the circuit board. So but anyways guys, I'm gonna try to wait till that light come on. I'm gonna record it, guys. Take care. Guys, so I've been doing this test for already 1 hour and 38 minutes. I set a timer on, I went to eat, and I went to do some other stuff and mess around around my Sprinter. I'm having it running continuously so far. The shifter still does shift, which is odd, because previously that's exactly what would actually go out. It would not shift, but this portion is shifting just fine. ABS, ESP, and traction control lights are on, and as I said, I did replace the circuit boards. I did replace the brake light switch. So what's causing this ABS, ESP, and traction control lights to come on? Not really sure, but there you go, guys. That's the test. Well, anyways, guys, it is what it is. Right now, both lights are supposed to be on, like I turn it on. As you can see, nothing's going on over here. So my first thing that I want to test is I want to test if there's any power coming into this, and I'm going to do this for the next video. So I'm just going to call this one an AND. I'm going to be using this tool here, and I'm basically going to pierce the wire and, you know, kind of like tap it, and then if it glows, I'm going to know it's getting power to it. I'm going to test that side. I'm going to test this side. I have already marked these blacks here, like I know like where all this coming from. These are two of them here. They're coming from the top one. This is the brake and stuff like that. And then this one here is from that one, that last one. And this here is, I suppose it's like, you know, whatever grounds it out, because it's just this, it's all these lights that's connected on that circuit. So I want to see if any power is getting to it, you know. I'm really curious, so I'm going to try to find the problem. Also, I do want to let you know that the wire for this, it pierces through, it goes to the bottom, and underneath there it runs like that. So what I can do is, I mean, if I don't find any other solution, is splice this type of wire into that wiring harness that does work, run those wires underneath, insulate them, and connect them where they need to go on this type of wire, you know, probably somewhere over here, you know, on these here. There's also a tow package in here, so somehow it could be maybe interfering, but it is what it is. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys in my next video.